everybody, welcome to Toyah Day. Thank you for all your questions. Sue wrote in, Wayland, I think her name was, and she said, what's the secret to a happy marriage? Well, for me, it's always lying in wait like a black widow spider, and then you jump out at your beloved. So this is what I'm about to do. Let's see if he falls for it. I've timed this. I spent all week timing this because my husband is like clockwork. I can hear his feet. So this is the answer to your question. Boom! That is what makes a marriage happy and makes it work. But Bob, what's Bob's surname?
Bob Pascarella.
He says that his wife finds it really funny saying boo to him and making him jump. Why is it so funny? Well, I'll tell you why. It's power. It's good, simple power. Any response, Mr. Fripp?
Help me.
Also, I think it's karmic payment for inventing prog rock.
Go.
So, welcome to Saturday with Toyah. Now, our first song this week is Be Proud, Be Loud, Be Heard. Now, this is my gym, which has been commandeered as my green screen room. It also was the library of every single program I have ever made and recorded. And this used to have all my VHS tapes. Well, now, thanks to a wonderful local company, the whole of my career is now on this one memory box. Don't you just love technology? So the first song today we're doing for you is Be Proud, Be Loud, Be Heard. This was released in 1984. It put us back in the studio with our wonderful friend Nick Tauber, who produced Anthem. And we just loved working with Nick. He was just a laugh a minute. And this song was very much entering into the mid-80s. It was written by myself and Joel Bogan and the Toyah Band. And we wanted something that was up and happy and that we could give back to the fans. I was getting so many letters back then from fans who had been suspended from school, who'd been in permanent detention, who were banned from leaving the home because they dyed their hair bright colours like me. So we thought, well, why don't you just be proud, be loud, be heard? 1, 2. As a child, divine takes a dive. Now be proud, be heard. I love that song more and more, and it's always wonderful to do live. Now, this week has been utterly crazy. In a way, things are going back to normal. I start a movie in a week's time, a TV in 2 weeks' time. We still don't know about live gigs yet, but I have absolutely said to everyone I know, once venues open, we will be there, because that is what we do. And it feels so strange not to have given a live performance in the last 5 months. So fingers crossed that will all be happening. Now, your questions this week have been fantastic, and we've had some absolutely wonderful ones for our agony moments, which we're going to start on Saturday, I hope. Let me get this right. When are we going to start? I think we're going to actually just randomly put them out. Robert really loves them, and he's having such a giggle with them. So they will just appear. We do actually have something musical for you on Sunday, which I am pretty desperate to do for you because it's very, very funny. So anyway, your questions for Toyah at home. Philip Halcrow, Toyah, hope you're well. Do you ever regret not having children? Whoa, oh gosh, I just don't know how to answer this. I'm a very protective person, and I'm naturally very anxious. I think I suffer anxiety, and I think if I had children, I would be like my mother tenfold. And my mother, whenever I said I'm going out for a walk, or I want to go and walk up a beautiful hill, or go into a forest alone, her reply was, "You will be murdered." And I'm literally not kidding. She was so negative. And I think I'd be worse than that as a mother. It's never occurred to me to be a mother. And I think you are born to have children, and you want children. You passionately want children. I don't think a woman should just be expected to have children purely because genetically she's female. And my sister hasn't had children, I haven't had children, but it doesn't mean I disconnect with humanity. There's so many reasons. My childhood was pretty horrible, even though it was privileged. I just never think back to it. There's virtually no happy memories. So I think that reflects heavily on my decision not to have children. There's a physical aspect to why I probably never would have been able to carry a child full term. But, you know, that doesn't even come into the picture if you haven't got the instinct in the first place. I have often thought, when I've watched news stories, and all too many news stories about young children losing their lives to aggressive parents, I've often burst into tears and said to Robert, we would have given that child a beautiful home. And that is very different to your question, Philip, of do I regret not having children? Because I think your question is about the biological side of having children. I think a day might come when I just turn around and go, right, if a child is not being treated properly, we're taking it. And Robert and I always said, and this is quite a bizarre thing, really, but we always said if we ever discovered Bill had a child, we would take it. I'm talking about Bill Reeflin as usual. We said, we would take it, we would take it, we want a little Bill in this house. But I suppose the direct and short answer to your question, Phil, is no. But there you go. Sean Woodley McDonald, have you ever felt in your career, this is such a great question, Sean, have you ever felt in your career really challenged and thought that that you've had enough and you want to give up? Wow, Sean, wow. There are so many moments where I think, why am I doing this? And then I get the connection to you all through this. I get the connection through my live work. I get the connection when you first hear things like Dance in the Hurricane for the first time, and the response is like a tidal wave of positivity and recognition. That's why I keep going. There are many times when I feel like giving up, and part of it is to do with frustration, to do with working in a world of much, much unconscious bias towards, not being physically attractive to people, towards being too short, towards being a woman. You know, there is so many negatives in this business, but what outweighs that is for me the spiritual journey and the journey of connection and creativity. And I think if you come into this career only thinking about profits, then you're going to be disappointed. If you come into this career thinking about connection and changing people's lives and these little moments of enlightenment, then this career is the best career in the world. But yes, I have thought sometimes that I've had enough, and then I just smack myself in the face and say, get on with it. Thank you for that question. Brian O'Neill, you ask, curious about what you think of the music industry today. What does it feel like to be a female icon within the music industry? The music industry today, it's a really strange one, Brian, because what is it? What is the music industry? For me, as an artist, as a 62-year-old woman who has been in the charts 3 times in the last 15 months, it's very interesting. I can play live, and because I can play live, I feel I have power in the industry. But then there's the other side of the spectrum, where if you sell less than 1 million units per release, no one's interested in you. But the thing is, I've been in the charts 3 times in the last 15 months. I'm one of Demon Music's best sellers. So there's a lot of contradictions. There is a lot of disparity. And you cannot look on these disparities and look at them as being something real. So for me, being a female icon within the industry, I live in my bubble and I live in Toyah world, where I know exactly the venues I'm going to fill, I know exactly what's going to sell, and I know to a certain extent what people want from me. Therefore, I have presence. But it's not international presence. In a way, it's growing now for the first time because lockdown has helped people discover me. So at the moment, my view of the music industry is very, very positive. And it's positive for reasons you could never second guess. And that is purely the lockdown helped the world discover me. Cherry Red Records have paid a lot for my back catalogue, which means it's worth a lot to them. Therefore, they are going to do everything to put it out there. And I'm really happy about that. Demon Music want me as an artist and they adore me and they back me all the way. So I feel quite strong and quite confident as an artist in this world. But even my gorgeous friend, Simon Darlow, said to me at dinner the other night that to a lot of people that earn the big bucks, that run the business, that do things like PRS, which is sharing income among artists, I'm in the lower 1%. I'm considered part of the dregs. And this is a cruel business. And I said this, a few minutes ago. And if you latch on or believe these attitudes, then you can't survive. What helps you survive is being very iron sure of your identity and iron sure of your audience and what you mean to people. Therefore, you keep your head above water. And that's what it is. So how do I feel, Brian, about being a female icon? Well, I mean, it's like a yo-yo. It's up and down. One day you can't give yourself away and the next, everyone wants to know you. And I find that fascinating. It doesn't provide me my oxygen. What provides me my oxygen is continually being creative, connected to my audience and knowing that my audience are with me. And one woman that probably taught me that very early on is the beautiful Katharine Hepburn, who I didn't mean to cover in this shot, but there's me and Katharine Hepburn making the corners green together. And I realised her life was tough, but she hung in. And when she was 73, she produced The Corners Green with George Cukor directing, starring myself, Dame Anna Massey, Catherine Hepburn, and many, many more. And it's the lives of icons like that have taught me that you just have to be tenacious. You keep hanging on. So thank you for that question. It was absolutely brilliant. Richard Ver, when you appeared on This Is Your Life, did you feel you were too young? No, Richard, I was desperate to do it. I'd lived one hell of a life and I just wanted to get out there and be seen and say, I belong here on this program. And I think I was on the last program to be made and had 17 million viewers. It was a hit. It was a huge hit. Adele Dunn, you ask, if you could get in the TARDIS and could be transported to any concert or moment of your life, where and what would it be? Wow. Drury Lane, Old Grey Whistle Test, Christmas Eve 1981, 12 million viewers, and I tell myself to just calm down, be grounded, be centered, pace yourself, and just focus on that camera and the world that was watching you. Because I was just terrified. So I'd like to go back to that. I think I'd also just like to go back to when I was meeting my first careers officer at school. I was about 15, and she just laughed in my face when I said I want to be a singer and an actress. And I just tell myself, don't worry, just don't worry, believe in yourself. Powell Murray, you ask, were you ever offered a role in Doctor Who? I think you make a fantastic Doctor Who. Funny enough, Powell, no. I actually asked to go meet the team and have an audition. And they did meet me, they agreed to meet me, but no, they've never offered me anything. I actually think I would love to do it, absolutely. No shadow of a doubt, I'd love to do it. But I think for me to work within that context, and when you look at the actresses that they employ, you know, they're actresses that can just disappear into a character, and people find my voice and my physicality quite distinctive. So I think I'd have to be an alien, someone where the prosthetics, you know, actually covered up quite a lot of me. But I would definitely want to do it, and I'd love to do it. It would be amazing. I have been in love with that program all my life, and it's part of my cultural upbringing, and very much has formed me as a lyricist and as a performer. That connection with the possibilities of other dimensional existences is really important to me. So thank you for that. I would desperately love to be on it. Elizabeth Evangeliste, you ask, have you ever sung any Beatles songs and recorded them? I was in a play called American Days, a Stephen Polyakov play. There was me, Phil Daniels, and we were performing at the ICA with Anthony Sher in the lead. And it was about a record executive auditioning 3 potential stars. And I was one of those potential stars. And I had to sing Yesterday as my audition piece within this play. And I fell in love with that song. It's so powerful. It's probably the most perfect song ever written in the history of rock music. So we didn't record that, but I sung it every night for 3 months. And it was quite a challenge to sing. It's a complex song. And then with the SAS band, I performed Come Together, and quite a few other Beatles songs, but again, never recorded them. And I wouldn't be opposed to doing that whatsoever, because I think the Beatles opened the floodgates of the new perception of writing, and they are just, and will be, absolutely timeless. So let's see what happens. It'd be rather nice to do it in the guise of a new technical era with new inventions on stage or something like that. It would be very interesting. Jason Nicholson, Toyah, I remember seeing Kenny Everett parody you on his television show. So do I. I loved it. Do you have any silly behind-the-scene memories of making that show? Funnily enough, Jason, Kenny Everett, when he was working, was very quiet, very insular, and he was always studying the lens, studying the camera, studying the picture, and working out the kind of the depth of field within the shot, where the boundaries of the shot were, and how far he could take it, and that was probably to make sure that he didn't go out of shot or just didn't take it anywhere where the audience would miss the humour of it. So we would rehearse, and the rehearsal would be pretty straightforward. He would hold back a little bit. He wouldn't give it 100%. So when we came to do the take, there was always an element of surprise that would kind of knock you off balance a little bit. But I would say that Kenny Everett was an absolute professional, but he didn't waste energy giving you comedy in a rehearsal. And I found that a lot with comedians. So when we did the takes, that was the moment of joy. And I absolutely love working with him. And he always was very gentlemanly. And he would say, do you mind if I do this? Is it a problem if I do this? Do you feel insulted? He never, ever wanted you to feel insulted or slighted or belittled. He was a true gentleman. Wow, what an opportunity it was to work with him. He was really one of the greats. And I'm so glad that is on my CV. I've worked with Kenny Everett. Colin Mace, what recollections do you have of playing with the Stranglers back in the 1980 when Hugh was on holiday in Pentonville? And then Craig Astley's done a note. The gig included Robert Fripp, my husband, before I ever knew him, alongside Hazel O'Connor and Phil Daniels, and it was at the Rainbow Theatre. Thank you, Craig. My memory is getting bad. So, Colin, my memories are it was an incredible event. Every artist I knew at the time wanted to be part of this, in support of the Stranglers and in support of Hugh. And we felt it was unfair that Hugh had been locked up because it affected the whole of the band's career. So the rehearsals were interesting. The rehearsals with us all coming in and out, kind of doing our bits. It was a question of, trying to learn as much as possible while everyone was in one room. But I realised very quickly that I was going to have to learn everything on my own from a tape recorder, and that when we got to the Rainbow Theatre, it was going to be like a free-for-all, because there was about 50 artists and it was over 2 nights. And the most amazing thing is I never met my husband of the future, Robert Fripp, who played that night. How I missed him, I don't know. I didn't meet him for another 4 or 5 years. I mean, that's incredible. So I remember on the night, it was impossible to find a place to be alone and to focus. So I had, I think, a Walkman or a tape recorder, and I just kept listening to it. And I was doing Peaches with Hazel O'Connor, and there was another song I did with Blood Donor, which I think was Schizophrenia or Ritaphenia. It was something like that. It was one of their songs, and all my learning had to happen in the dressing room or in the wings. We worked with Ian Drury as well, and I walked on that stage, and it was very intriguing because I think there was some element of hostility towards me because of what I represented in the punk rock scene against what the Stranglers represented. I think there was a slight divide. I was seen as being quite commercial or not a serious punk rocker. But I think I won them over. It was an incredible time to be on that stage with the band. I remember it as being a moment of absolute power and owning the moment. And of course, it was wonderful to work with Hazel O'Connor. I did one really bloody stupid thing, and I ran off with Ian Drury's walking stick, not realising that he actually bloody needed it. And I apologise. I apologise to his family, and I apologise to him. That was just me being stupid. But apart from that, it was an amazing experience, absolute amazing learning curve. So thank you for that question. Thank you. Susan Emmerich, have you ever met Patti Smith? You did Because of the Night on Stars in Your Eyes, and also with French and Saunders. I do know Patti very, very briefly because Bill Rieflin was very close to her and to the band. So we all went, Robert, me, Bill Rieflin, Chris Wong, to see Patti perform in Bath. Not that long ago, only about 7 odd years ago, and she was phenomenal. And there was an opportunity there to meet and just catch up. a huge fan, and she's such a great woman, obviously. I've got all her books, all her albums, everything. Absolutely love her. So thank you for that one. Mick Hill. Oh, Mick, this question. Mick, what? My funeral song is Bird in Flight. Why? Well, as a kid, I knew that the world around me didn't fit what I was being told on the TV and the aspirations my mother had for me. Wow. The lyrics fit into my personal belief that we can be who we want to be and that we shouldn't be brought down by those around us, limiting our potential. Wow. Mick, you've hit that spot on. Spot on. I hope it's not your funeral song anytime soon. That song was written in rebellion against my mother for exactly what you say. I was a very enthusiastic, very ambitious child, and everything I said I wanted to do was met with negativity. And I was told, well, I can't do it. I won't do it. I will fail. I will be disappointed. So I just left home absolutely determined never to fail, never to give up on my dreams, never to doubt who and what I was. And you've just got it spot on. Bird in Flight is a song of rebellion and getting personal freedom and not being met with negativity for something you passionately believe. And Mick, I'm very honoured you want it as your funeral song. It's a fabulous song to perform live because of this element of freedom that bursts out of it. And it's very, very satisfying. As a singer, it's satisfying. You just feel this release of positivity and kind of winning. You just feel like a winner, and that everything is yours. The world belongs to you again. So thank you for that question. You've hit it spot on. That is exactly why I wrote it and what it was about and what I intended to write about is that. And I suppose another thing is, Mick, that I chose the disability of not seeing. And I use the word disability because I can't think of another word, because I often think if there's something you can't do, you excel brilliantly at everything else. But I wanted this image of not being able to see, not being a disability, on moving out into the world, belief in yourself, furthering yourself, and achieving your ambitions. So I suppose I used that analogy of being blind for wanting to run and to fly and to move very fast and to just jump up into the air and fly away. So I wanted to say, nothing can stop you. No one else's attitude, no one else's stonewalling, no one else's negativity can stop you. You are the king and queen of your lives. And that's what that was. And here I end the sermon and Toyah on Saturday at home. So keep your questions coming in. They have been brilliant. Robert and I are going to start doing Toyah and Robert's agony moments, which is purely tongue in cheek. And I will see you next Saturday, and we are going to leave you with, of course, Mick, Bird in Flight, the acoustic version, at Trading Boundaries. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And see you tomorrow for Toyah and Robert's Sunday lunch. Bye for now.
He runs to the water's edge to feel the sea, to smell the air, to feel he's free. He does not really need to see. To this unhappy child, he's a no-no. No, he'll never see. Told about water, told about fire bites, told about birds. They're wild and free. They're everything he dreamed and see. No, oh, he's a no-no. No, he'll never see water, animals slaughtered, never see daylight, never see fire. Alone in the dark, his mind sets him free. He becomes wild and free. Birds in the trees, I see, they can revive. I see my mama, she's a liar, flying higher, screaming to my mama, you're a liar. Yes, oh, I'm a yes. Now my eyes can see up through the clouds, out past the sea, out my bedroom window, over the city, to my home in the sky. I wanna cry a letter that Mom says, goodbye, Mom, goodbye. Remember how I cried, you said I lied. You didn't believe me. I can walk through walls, grow 10 feet tall, touch the ceiling, be a special child. I rise to my feet, I walk through my walls.